All right, game two. We had a heck of a banger in game one. Let's see if we have any adaptations. Check this out from BLG. They're going to charge out together and maybe try to set a trap here. They're moving. What? All right, so that scattered movement is a mistake. That means that there's a little bit of discord into how to approach this play. Perhaps saying that they just don't want to get chunked out if a spell randomly were to come out. So, they could be doing it calculated specifically versus Jace, but it would be worse against Nautilus, right? If Nautilus is able to pick his target, if he's able to see it. Now, check this out. They're going to keep on going, get the ward onto Krugs. This is the setup on the Scion play, and they're doing it against T1, the first team that brought it out. So, take a peek. Kindred is going to go for an invade. You're going to go for a dive in bot wave. You're going to then try to get vertical jungling and control for the marks. So this is something you can do with the Kindred. It's something that I think you need to do if you play Kindred, to play super, super aggressively. And in this case, what they're doing is saying, hey, we're setting up this play where we can get Scion out of this abysmal matchup against Kennen and instead set him up so he can start leashing the waves, which you see him doing. Look at that full charged Q on the Raptor pit means that Kindred is able to take it. T1 snuffs it out and said, we're actually going to go and engage upon you right now, but there's no one else to come here. Now, Lulu can come by herself. This is a huge win for BLG and a mistake by T1. They're actually ceding too much by showing a little bit of pressure, but not enough. Lulu just comes to be the reinforcement. It means that Kindred's going to pick up the rest of this one, going to be careful to make sure that they get the thing. Aphelios could have gone for a Q auto. If it were level 2, but level 1 doesn't have access to any spells, so he doesn't even have it for himself here. And now without the red buff, they're actually going for this play without red. This is also something that they don't need to do. They could just take this health lead. Elk could have let the minions out. It's a mistake to let the turret deal any amount of damage to these turrets, to these minions. So we have multiple people down here. Scion is losing out on all resources up in the top lane. Kennen's going to get that for himself. So the Kennen will be big. But, basically Kennen would have been that big anyways. Scion would have been this small anyways. And it looks like they have dissuaded the play. Maokai shows up with level 2, having taken the Wolves. Right? When's the last time you've seen a game 245 and no buffs have been taken? Very interesting adaptations. Now, Zeus actually failed on the bounce back. If you truly want to punish this, you create a 3-stack push with the Kennen. Then you go out and you get a ward on the red buff to get some idea of when the enemy jungler is going to come back to your side of the map. And then you let the wave come back out and you freeze. And that could have netted himself an extra 5 minions worth of advantage against Scion. So, very complex play. And as we get into more iterations of how to play with this Scion leashing strategy, that is something that you want to do as a top laner to punish it. So now, here we go. Maokai comes out. He doesn't have the extra ward for himself. He does have a sapling in the Raptor bush. And he's going to go for red. We'll see if Kindred tries to react. He's going to go Scuttle because that's where the mark is. So this is actually very fortuitous for T1. But that said, this amount that Aphelios is going to be behind because of this play is tremendous. Not as punishing as if he had gone Cull. Okay, the fact that he went Doran's Blade means that he's still going to have enough stats up front to take a lot of these fights. But you can see that Jinx having the early access, the level advantage, having actually more than a full level advantage. We'll see that change as Aphelios picks up the wave here. But Jinx has a full level advantage that came from being bought solo for an entire wave. Zeus going for a flash, but doing it as the E's winding out, that's a mechanical mistake. Means you're not going to get full burst out here, but it's going to be enough because it's 3 versus 2. Scion going to flash to try to get into position, but that's never going to be enough against Kennen. We'll see if he can get a trade against Faker here because the clone is just very, very strong. Kennen using the stun, that'll be the end of that. Bin should have waited a little bit. Wait till after you get stunned to use the speed boost to try to get one extra hit in. Ends up getting nothing for it. So big wins there for T1, which they needed. They very desperately needed. And I don't like that BLG is trying to show strength in the Western Quadrant. You're strong in South and in East. You haven't shown anything on the Western Quadrant. You are not allowed to be here and feign strength. Kindred just desperately wants this mark. But Maokai, Q, peel, jump over the wall, not taking any risks. Able to stick around to get an extra Q, and then when he smells blood, gets the W out. So beautifully played by Owner. But again, I can't iterate enough. This was not This was not the spot on the map that you want to be. This is literally as far away from your fed Jinx as you can get. And it's just sort of cognitive dissonance macro style. And so, your strategy has lined up one set of plays, and instead you did another. And you can see that it just falls apart. It doesn't actually work. So now, Kindred coming back into Southern Quadrant, seeing the error in their ways. I'm going to say, all right, that's fine. Actually, interesting right there. Zun missing an opportunity for a huge outplay. You can dash into the Nautilus hook, and when it connects with a champion, it won't bring you to the wall as it does against a wall. It'll actually connect and then bring you halfway. So you could have actually locked the Nautilus into the river and gotten more attacks from his teammates. Instead, you see Lulu's flash being used to no real effect. And here we go. Faker being punished, stepping up. Second time he's had to retreat from mid, and Kindred's going to get up and in front. Unfortunately, the mark is on Maokai, as it normally is, but that's going to be a big advantage for Yagao, who's going to try to get this wave in. Now, this is something that Zun needs to improve on. You're there. You've got this wave. It didn't quite get in. It is worth your time to help the Sylas get the wave the rest of the way in. Because of the delay, Maokai's actually able to pick up everything. Jace will be there in time. They're able to split more resources, and it means that Sylas is about 12 seconds later on the map. You may be deciding as BLG, hey, Kindred is our point of strength. And so because we've started this game, this whole composition is based around leashing her early and getting the early kill early. Everything about setting the Kindred up for success. That could be the decision why they're saying, no, Kindred, don't worry about helping. It's your job to carry this game. Everyone's going to help you. Here we go with this lane state that I was saying that they could have formulated for themselves if Zeus had gone for the freeze after the 3-wave crash, right? You could have gotten a negative game state where the wave's coming back to you, and then you have the winning matchup and the winning position on the wave. It's coming back to you. There's nothing Sion can ever do to really stop that. He can just try to slam his Q and W and try to get the rest of the wave in. Really his only other option. All right, Sapling connecting. We'll see if Kindred goes for some amount of these Raptors. Opts not to. Jace is going to have lane prio over Sylas all day long. Sylas really being picked as an answer. To Maokai. Enemy team shows Maokai. You say, all right, I'll pick up Sylas and I'll just have a better Maokai ult. And basically do the same things that he does, but a little bit better. Is that worth the positional advantage jungle versus mid? Who knows? I should say we'll find out. But very, very commonly something that's done. Just a classic counter pick, Sylas to the Maokai. And Maokai Jace should be exceptionally deadly, but because Maokai has played on the back foot, has not been able to get themselves into the position that would allow for any kind of ganks here. Kindred has always been down his throat. But that being said, check out the score. Maokai 2-0 and with 46 CS. So Maokai absolutely keeping up in this game despite having to shelter a Shadow at level 1. Changing his path at level 2. The fact that bot lane play was slightly dodged. Oh no! Guma Yusi going for an ultimate that was never going to deal lethal damage. Gets himself locked into an animation which allows Maokai to step in and pop after they hook up the Jinx. Sorry, I should start that over. Aphelios locks himself into an animation means that he gets pegged by the Jinx W. But then Jinx going and returning the favor, getting Nautilus hooked, which allows Maokai to come up, get on the other side of you and shove you under turret to get the return kill. So both AD carries making a mistake there. Guma will not be the benefactor of any of that extra experience, but look at this difference right now. Full level plus in the advantage of Jinx and 25 CS difference. So if this game comes out, and why I'd like to see Kindred continue to stay in a more support role, because Jinx is your way to win this game. You've got the Lulu Jinx. You're just more than happy to play this game out in the position front to back. Sylas has the ultimate to steal Maokai's to try to get that play for yourself, and then you've got Kindred as a back pocket safety valve. Because you've got Kindred, you don't need to peel. That is one of the ways. That is my favorite way of using Kindred, is just a second carry that stays with the carry, and then you just cast your ultimate. You ignore whoever's hitting you. You continue to play front to back, and you just rip through their tanks. And as one of you approaches near death, then you can use your ultimate, and then you turn on to whoever's coming at you. But you make sure to rip through your target up front first. Now, T1, because of the lane swaps here, we had BLG rushing into top lane. You've got Jinx getting solo time with these turrets. You have shared XP in the bot lane with the Rift Herald. It means that T1 is going to get a spike in gold here, going up almost 3k, but that's going to come back down below 2 as Jinx picks up more and more of these plates and picks up this turret. And the big difference is that Jinx is getting these resources for themselves. So when you look at the gold totals, 1k advantaged, going to be even more as they finish the cull here. Only 2 CS away. Unfortunately, cannot stick around to find out whether or not they can stay versus a Kennen coming in. Look at this shot. Oh my gosh. Guma's like, the minion stepped down, and then when you collide with the minion, if they're trying to walk forward and you're walking down on their front edge, you will collide and it won't go anywhere. And they end up getting this knockback. Look at this. Boom, to the edge, just outside. But that being calculated. Now Zeus, here we go. This is the plan. They say, you know what? We can stick around up top. We're actually going to send Elk back to bot lane, but then we're going to go and aggress against the singleton Kennen up in the top lane. Now Ben, how does he get out of this situation? Has stepped up. What is the team going to get while he's inting? That's the question. So yes, he's going to die, but he is going to pick up the majority one. Ooh. Oh, he goes for a flash ult escape. Okay, uses multiple resources. That means that they're here for longer. He's going to go for the wave now, and even when he dies, he's going to pick up these casters first. And he's going to go and try to pick up the whole wave. It looks like he's going to get it. Bin picking up 5 out of 6 of those minions means that they used a scenario, many cooldowns and time to try to plug him away. And he doesn't mind dying, right? This is the Boss FFS strat. Doesn't matter if I die, as long as I get the resources and my team is doing something else, then they're going to feel very good. Oh my gosh, Elk just pushing every button to the limit. Good to see someone really stretching the limits of what the carry position can do. Jinx not quite on the same scale as Zeri as far as being able to continue fights unless she gets excited. Then it's basically like jumping ahead to 10 stacks on Zeri from being in her ultimate. Now, how do they come out of this situation? Are they going to reset, or are they going to go for a power play? If you're PSG, this is where they would take 4 people and slam them down bot lane. Then they would take Sion, they would int under turret. Sion would go for the kills while you go and push them out of wave. You'd be able to get 2 plates for yourself, and you would have Silas picking up the waves for themselves in mid and top. Look at this huge stacking top wave. That's going to be a bunch of cheddar for somebody on this team. Who's going to go pick it up? They've got to move now, otherwise this wave is going to get eviscerated. Little thought exercise. Pause the video. How long do you think it takes that top wave to kill the incoming red wave? They meet at 1343. Just worth noting something like this so you can start practicing, how long it actually takes for waves to stack up. You can also pause the video and decide whether or not the next wave would come in time. Rewind to that spot. And you see a wave of that advantage. Boom, 18 seconds. It's killed the other wave. Now it's restacked, and now it's actually going to deal a significant amount of turret damage over here. Because BLG is going over to the right side, no one's going to pick this up. So that is a lot of gold being left by the wayside. Now, I don't mind it as long as you're high and tight, and you're just making sure that this play is consolidated, fast. Everything about it is going to be quick. Kennen opting to go in the top lane. Now, here we go. They say, oh, we've got the dragon. Now we're going to send someone over to pick up all these minions. Look at that. 9 casters. 9 casters and 4 melees sitting right there. And no way. You cannot die if you're Kennen here. What just happened? All right, we've got to go see a replay to see exactly what happened in the top lane. But that was perfectly played by BLG, knowing the maximum amount of time that they could get out on the map, get the dragon for themselves, and still pick up that wave. Sion also getting the kill is just icing on top of the cake. That is a fairly colossal misplay. And check out the gold, guys. Remember when it was 3K in the advantage of T1? Now it's even. Why would you do that? Zeus. That is 10 out of 10 inting. And just did a blank, like, what? What? Did he really walk into my queue? This is my face right here. I'm trying to find out why. Like, why would you do that? I can't think of a reason. If you guys can think of a reason, let me know. But oh my goodness. Uh Not a good sign. Not a good sign for T1. We said that we are going to keep an eye on Faker. You see the breaths are getting a little bit shorter. Gets a little bit tight, starts swallowing, gets like dry mouth. It looks like swallows a little bit more often, starts, cracking his neck, start doing more of these things. It could be that he's just getting in the zone and trying to amp himself up. We'll see if he's able to bring this game back from the abyss. But right now, 0-1 on Jace, not where you want to be. You want to be trouncing this matchup into Silas, and that is not what happened. Getting punished while he was trying to step forward. So now the gold lead is just in BLG's favor. Elk is... all the money being on Elk is just huge as well. And the fact that Sion was able to pick up that huge wave for himself was just, the difference. That's the rest of the gold lead right there. Or that is the gold lead. Just picking up that huge triple stacked wave. So strong. Elk going a little bit wide. Let's see the red-white aggression right here. Does Lulu step in front? Nope. They just say, no, I can cleanse it. Don't worry about it. We'll make it look like they're coming towards us. So they have a couple side steps. And nothing done by T1. Now, Sion has picked up the Jack Show for himself, looking to stay in these fights a long time, which can happen with Kindred, right? Kindred might try to keep him alive, although most times, again, you're just willing to let Sion die because it means that your team deals significant amounts of damage in the post-mortem. Sion going for a good position right there. Love this flank position for the axe. You're just saying, I'm going to line this up, make you guys back away, and we get the turret for ourselves. BLG get it cleanly. Look at these wards that they've placed for themselves on the left side. 3 wards and a little hook, making sure that there is no angle that the little lightning bug can get over them. So Pikachu is going to be on the bench for a little bit longer. Looks like Kennen might be trying to hold a freeze there, but that wave will not freeze. Those minion HP bars are too low. Your wave is going to consolidate and reconsolidate faster. So Kennen probably opting to just go for a hard push right here, and it looks like he did cast his E and W, so yep, does do that. He's going to be on the map a little bit faster than Silas. Silas will pick up 2 of these waves and then ping pong it back. Because of the length of this wave, you could actually let that sit for a moment. Let your wave stack up just a moment. You're still going to have to wait for this next wave anyways. And with there being nothing really on the map, Dragon not being for 53 seconds, you actually want this to be on your half of the map. So if you had waited as Silas right here, Yagao and Silas, if you wait just a little bit longer, and then you clear that wave, and then you clear the ranged casters in one of the melees, right, you can start setting up this like heavy stacking wave where yours will reinforce, yours is also bigger, and suddenly it'll actually be a point of strength where a fist could actually come in and start getting the push. That's what we talk about when we create these slow pushes. Right now, not the ideal time because of Dragon spawning, but with Baron coming up as well, you might set up and say, hey, we can maybe head fake you guys into a Dragon defense, and the fact that you want to look at this big wave in bottom and maybe go after Baron instead. So that's a play that is available, but not the one that they opt for. Instead, they're going to come reset battle lines in the mid. Let's see the Lingering Vision. They've got the 1 deep ward in mid, the mandatory one that you'll see all these teams always get. They just use teleport to gum up the Rift Herald. They don't want the Rift Herald taking another step forward because it would have gotten the charge off, so they use teleport to keep it there. And they're going straight over to Dragon. They've got the inside track. They've got the gold lead. Is the gold in the inventory? They've got stopwatch. They've got half items on most champions, and Jinx is actually very close to item number 2. Opting for Zeal and then Infinity Edge, most likely, although it might have been BF Sword into like rapid fire cannon or something like this. We're going to start seeing lots of static shivs flying around. Unlucky, been missing cannon. Now T1, how are they going to set up? They've been a little bit slow on the trigger today. Now, quiz, do you know whether or not bot wave is going to push out? Two factors. One is just the normal things that you weigh in as a wave is collecting against each other, but the fact that one of those melees gets gummed up means that his AI is off, and he's not going to spread out. It means that his wave is going to push harder, but then you have to look at the difference in levels, and you see that BLG is actually significantly up in XP, so their wave is going to be stronger no matter what, and that one will always push back. So good little exercise to see whether or not you truly know if waves are coming in. Just set up a dummy on the map and let it get some experience, and then try to match it to you. Say what's it like when it has 1 or 2 or 3 more levels than you. What are wave states, and try to see. Just watch, just observe. A little exercise. Predict. First time, just see it. Next time, try to make a prediction based on what's going to happen, and then try to manipulate and try to make the situation that you want to have happen. But now BLG setting up. We're going to see Sion moving from jungle to top, most likely. Silas is going to continue to dutifully be in this side lane, happy to take fights against Kennen, but most likely they're just going to continue playing ping pong with these waves. First to clear, and then you just rotate out. Now, if you're Kennen in this situation, for example, you could just let this sit here, and I expect that he might. Oh, he jumps out for the wave right as Silas was coming out. He could have waited and gone for an ult, try to get a big exchange in damage there. If you turn off the first strike from the Silas, he loses a significant chunk of his damage and could have gone for a big positive trade. Maybe saying like, no, I really want to have this. But when they both go toe-to-toe, it's going to favor Yagao as far as AP is concerned. The big difference is that Kennen has that passive that's going to stack up those stuns. So you have to use the rest of the kit really well as Silas, because just toe for toe, the Kennen ultimate will be fine. But that's the situation we're talking about, right? If you just wait a moment, don't let Silas hide in the bush and get first strike on you. Instead, you're the one doing it to him. Not only are you denying him 150 gold that he'll be able to use on this next shop, but also the increased damage that comes in. It is a massive part of these first strike metagames that when there's a first strike champion, you should try to turn it off. And when you turn it off is when you can absolutely start taking fights, because that's a big difference. That's 10% of a champion. Especially if it's the most fed champion in the game. Sometimes it's going to feel like half a champion of extra damage going in. But T1 just seemingly willing to just sit back, scale, wait for team fights. They're going to wait. They haven't made any proactive plays at all this game. The only thing that could be called proactive is Nautilus hooking the Jinx that showed herself under turret. That's it. Apart from that, they've been sitting on the back seat, started at level 1, reacting to the Sion invade. And for that reason, I'm favoring BLG in this game. On top of the fact that Jinx is enormous. Finishing the eye edge, I'm going to be working on a third item here. We see a little bit of everything. Haven't really seen Phantom Dancer ever since the split in the stats. Mortal Reminder also not really that important. Heal Cut is the worst stat in the game, and you don't really want to get it as the carry. Most times you're going to see Rapid Fire Cannon, and occasionally you'll see Runon's Hurricane if there's a large amount of melee divers. But in this game where you can have some amount of poke, you've got long range Kennen, Jace, and Aphelios, and you also don't really want to step up that far to the point where Maokai could flash W. You see a lot more of an item like Rapid Fire Cannon, which is what Elk goes for. Very intelligent. There is a situation for each of those Zeal items, but Rapid Fire Cannon is the most encompassing. You can never really go wrong with that item. Now see how they manipulate. Drawing the battle line. Zeus looking for a flanking angle is spotted by that ward, so expect to see BLG move to the right side as they redraw their battle lines. They don't want to be in a position where Kennen can flank, so they're looking straight north. Elk is going to start kiting downwards a little bit more, and you see how they're positioning right here, right? Front to back, they're willing to go left to right and never really present the target to the Kennen to get in. Very nice warding there. The lingering ward is enough to keep them that advantage, and that means Kindred's going to go get Collect Soul. And as we were talking about T1 just kind of sitting back, they've sat back and watched as 4 dragons have gone by the wayside. Now, they're waiting I don't know if they timed this on purpose, but the fact that Dragon's at 4k health is the perfect time to start Baron, because you're basically making Kindred commit to getting over there. But let's look at the rest of this fight. Kennen is going to split the team in two. Elk is kiting himself off and has survived the Kennen engage all the way for Kindred to get in. Now check this out. This is a situation you want, front to back with Kindred escorting the Jinx in, and you use the Kindred as the peel. Just has the ultimate if there's ever to be any threat, and it does not matter. Jinx is just massive. They take this fight, they take the soul, the movement, the ultimates, everything about it is BLG domination, and they're up 2.5k, about to be 7k as they turn this Baron into a massive lead. I expect them to get all of these inners at the very least, maybe even more. Yagao going for the one. Oh my goodness. All right, Yagao taking the 1v1 of Felios, showing his face against a mage. Yes, this is spring of season 13, and marksmen are very strong, but there has never been a time where a marksman can stand up to a mage at this stage in the game. Especially someone like Silas that has those multiple ways to catch on. Now let's take a look at this fight. Kennen getting into shape. Rocket Belt. We see the engage from Owner. The fight is split in two. I'd like to see T1 consolidate a little bit more. Kennen reaching for Elk but never getting him is the difference in that fight. Now Nautilus dies. Scion into the big knockup, but Owner's able to pop himself away. But it's not going to be enough. They're going to get the continuation on the fights here. Kindred even flashing for it, saying we really want this kill. Ooh, I don't like this play at all by Kindred. Stepping up, saying, it's time, but just wait a moment. Don't need to feel it that much. Big chunk. 1/3 of Lulu's health is gone. It's not going to matter, though. Kindred is healing up off the camps, as you are wont to do as a jungler. You should basically never be off the map as a jungler in Season 13, with the differences here. Elk going for this kill into Zeus. Even kiting back at the moment that the ultimate was cast, was already kiting backwards while getting every orb walk hit in. And this is incredible how they're fighting this game. Elk has been stupendous in this series. Now, actually moving himself out of the Kindred ult, a little bit of a mistake. You'd like to get that extra heal. There's no reason not to take it to be in there. But they press up and they get the full advantage. They get the game. BLG looking strong. T1 just kind of sitting on the bench this game. They didn't really do anything. I want to see more in Game 3.